Hey, welcome back to Gray Roots. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. Wow. And you guys, I just want to sit in gratitude right now and say thank you for being here. I know this time of year, especially, there's so much noise out there. There's so many other podcasts you could be listening to and other things you could be reading, but you chose to be here. So thank you. And Happy New Year to my girls that are here. Hey, girls.
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year
Happy New Year.
2026.
I
So
know,
crazy. That's
crazy.
crazy.
And we
Wow.
are craziers. We are in season 4 of our Grey Roots podcast, which is crazy. And you guys, this year it is called New Beginnings. And even just saying those words kind of just uplifts, right? Like new beginnings, there's hope in that. So as we step into this new year, we want to step into it with gratitude and intention and with hope because there's so much negativity, as we all know, out on social media, especially around this daughter-in-law, mother-in-law relationship. And it's not working. So we want to come with it in a new direction. And so that's what this podcast is about, this first one of the new year. So first of all, we're going to talk about New Year's resolution versus intention. And me personally, I don't like New Year's resolutions. I don't know about you girls. So if I say like when I was going for a run, if I say I'm going to go 4 miles, by golly, I'm going 4 miles. Even if my knee's hurting or I can't breathe, like I'm going. So for me, if I set New Year's resolutions, I'm hesitant because I feel like it's going to set myself up for failure.
Mm.
So I don't do that. What do you guys feel about that? How have you handled New Year's resolutions in the past?
Well, I'm
Well,
always
I
on I'm always on it with a health journey. Usually it's the I've eaten crappy all Christmas, I'm ready to start. So it's usually that for me, honestly.
yeah, I am a New Year's starter over junkie cereal, make new whatevers. Used to make resolutions and then I started actually kind of dialing that down a little more and I didn't like that. I didn't like that term. Like I resolve to do this and it's almost kind of like just try harder, right? But
Right.
as I got older, you realize some things it doesn't matter how hard you try if you don't have a good plan. So I prefer to set goals. And if I'm really in my crazy, crazy self, I will plot my life out to 6 or 7 different areas. I will write my top 3 goals for each of those areas and then like plan it out for the whole year on what that looks like as far as action items, specific time, right? I know.
Wow.
No, that's
How did
good.
that go for you usually?
So usually, well, I can say this. Always, I never hit all of my goals. But for me, I don't mind that because it means that I've hit more goals than I would have if I didn't write any down.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I kind of take that with like a grain of salt that I don't ever feel like, oh, I'm failing. I mean, except for the part where like, oh, this year I'm going to lose 20 pounds, right?
Yeah.
That part, I'm always like, wah, wah.
Yeah.
But
So
if I can
let's talk
break
about
it, yeah, if I can break it down into actionable items, and sometimes some years are better than some years it's like, you know what, I'm just going to pick like one goal in each area. I'll
Mhm.
write down the other ones, but then like if I check and I'm able to do that one goal, then I'll go to the next. But
So let's talk a minute about the difference between a New Year's resolution and you're talking about goals. That
hmm
can fall under resolution or intention. So New Year's resolutions versus setting different intentions. And you hear that a lot as well on social media. What's your intent? Let's set intentions for
hmm
2026. So the differences could be, to me, resolution feels more like a list of rules and strict things that you're going to do. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to lose 20 pounds and I'm going to work out 3 times
hmm
like that's what feels like resolutions, whereas intentions feels more fluid and more relaxed, and there's more space for creativity in that. Like, I'm going to be more intentional about my relationship with my daughter in law. Then you can go, okay, now what does that look like? Like what you're saying, you
right
planning out
now,
the whole
then you can
year.
dial that in, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
make the
Whereas
goals.
resolutions, I mean, we're all personal trainers at one point. Certainly January was booked, packed by the third week in January. It's like, not so many people there. So what happens? Why are New Year's resolutions setting us up for failure?
I think a
Not all the
lot of
time.
people don't. I mean, I think a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this as well, because I think it's not complicated, but it's not easy, right? It's simple. They don't have actionable items that are reasonable for them. So let's say I want to lose 20 pounds. So I know 300, 3,500 calories is a pound. So if I burn an extra 500 calories a day, I'm going to lose a pound a week. So I also know that 1 mile burns 100 calories. So if I walk or run 5 miles every day, I will lose a pound a week as long as my intake stays the same. So I have actionable items, but that is not reasonable, right? They're time bound. That is not a realistic
Mhm.
goal to be able to adhere to. So I think twofold. There either aren't actionable items behind that you can actually like take little bite-sized chunks out of, or people like myself tend to set like things way up here that are ridiculously unreasonable for me to accomplish.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like maybe resolutions aren't a lifestyle change, like long term, right? Like
Mhm.
it's this 80-20 rule of, okay, I'm just going to go work out. I'm going to do this so that check so that I can go do this. Well, if that's not your lifestyle, you're going to burn out and just go back to what you know. So intentions can be more of a, I want to change this area of my lifestyle for long term. Let's do it in a realistic way, baby steps. You know, like I said, be more intentional. Well, maybe be more intentional about your health. Like, what can that look like? Okay, I'm gonna not choose to eat gluten this year, or I don't know, something like that. But it just feels like resolutions versus intentions are very different. Kath, what are your thoughts?
So I haven't thought about it deeply what the difference between the two is. I think with either, the easy part is making them. I think whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
resolution or an intention,
Right,
you're usually
for
sitting on your
sure.
sofa by the cozy fire so you can write down anything. And that's what I'm guilty of. And then it's what Alicia keeps saying, it's the making the steps, taking the action that's the challenging part, whatever you name it, whether it's a
Mm-hmm.
resolution or an intention or a goal. I think the naming of it isn't the important thing as much as the living it out. And I think in all of them, you should be fluid. I love that you say that it should be I'm working towards this. I know that one thing I do every year is come up with a word of the year, just to help me kind of something to come back to. What is my word? And then what does that word mean? And then why did I choose that word? And so sometimes that's, for me, a better way to look at the intention or the goal or the resolution, whatever. So I don't know.
Right,
I think
right.
that's interesting to think
Mm-hmm.
of. I think for most people, and definitely for me, the creating it is super easy. The acting on it is super difficult.
Right, right. Like, I
Yeah.
can do this, and we're looking on social media, and we're seeing, oh, that's a good idea. Oh,
Yes.
I totally
Yeah.
want to do that. And then we
I'm
get
gonna rip out my
distracted and we go,
bathroom. Yeah.
Because it
right,
always
yep,
feels like we can do it sitting by the fire. We're so
Correct.
empowered.
Correct.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So where does that leave us though? Maybe somebody's made it to February. I feel like for me, once when I did do the resolute, it just felt like a failure. And like, okay, skip it. Like this year's gonna be just like last year. And we don't want that. How can we do it differently this year for 2020? So some intention ideas to make, simply to break it down. So we want more meaning, right? And less noise. So much noise in our world. Even this morning, I'm driving to the chiropractor there and back, and my temptation was to turn on the radio or turn on a something podcast, something to listen to. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need to do that. So if we're more meaning, then well, if I want to spend more time with my daughter-in-law, how about I call her? Use that time to call her, right? Like be more intentional with that time rather than just filling ourselves with noise. Another one is more connection rather than performance. Like I want to connect with people rather than maybe showing up because I should, or I'm showing up because I think so they'll like me, or you know what I mean? Like, does this make sense to you? Like
Mm.
performing rather than connection. I want connection. So I don't have to do all that. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I want to go connect more with people. And that goes along with more presence and less pressure. We have just come out of the holiday season. Wow, so much pressure. How can we be more present without showing up because of the pressure? And I like that a lot because when I say no to things, and which I'm learning a lot about saying no and not showing up here because I feel like I should, and the expectations are on me instead of, you know what, over here, I can show up for you. I can have lunch with you and coffee with you because I didn't show up over here out of expectation and I should. So those can be intentions for this year. More meaning, more connection, and more presence. Do you guys have any ideas or any thoughts come up with that? Any experience with maybe somewhere where you chose to show up or say no? Like, how is that going for you?
Well, I pretty much have zero boundaries, so I say yes to everything. Just kidding. I mean, a little bit. Kidding, not kidding.
Kidding,
There
not
are a
kidding.
lot of things that I really want to be intentional with. Unfortunately, time is the one resource that we are all limited with. Um, I do like the word intention, right? Because it's your intent. What is your intent? And I love the idea of being intentional with my time,
Mhm.
right? So to me that means productive toward whatever my goals are, resolutions, lifestyle changes, whatever those things are, being intentional toward that, almost kind of like you're driving a ship, right? And you're like turning the wheel. And instead of having a, 17-foot racing boat where you're like, turn on a dime, it's more like a cruise ship where you're making small incremental changes, like 1 degree at a time, that are more sustainable. But I do like the idea of being intentional with my time and then kind of breaking that down. Like, okay, so what do I want to be intentional about? I think is kind of where that all comes down to, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
If we want a better we're like if the goal or the resolution is I'm going to have a better relationship with my daughter-in-law, right? Then be intentional about your actions and your time that you spend when you invest in her.
Yeah, for sure. And it sets us up, especially when we do this in January, it sets us up to set our intentions for the year. Then we know, or it's easier to make decisions. Like if that's not what I'm doing this year, this is what I'm doing over here. So it's easier to
Huh?
stay the course and then to feel like, okay, I'm living my life intentionally. And so we feel good about ourselves rather than
Uh-huh.
letting other people tell us where we should show up, what we should do. And then by the end, we're all frazzled. I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore. But being
Right.
intentional about those spaces, and then it helps to say no to certain things, and then also to say, yes, I can show up there because this is part of my being intentional with you or with this or with my health. It's hard. I don't know about you guys. We got so many kids and grandkids. Like, it's hard. Yes, we could do something for somebody every single minute of our lives. We could. And then where does that leave us by the end of the year? So fitting them in or putting them in a space where we can show up better, I think is more healthy for everyone. But that means, like you just said, being intentional almost, yeah, with our time to what am I watching? How am I just watching to binge watch? Or how can I use that space even to be intentional, to learn something new? I don't know if somebody, I don't know if you guys do this, but once one of my kids say they watched a movie or something, like, oh, I'm still going to watch that, even though I wouldn't normally, but just to be able to relate, like the Harry Potter. Millie's reading Harry Potter, so being intentional, like, okay, I'm going to watch those so that I can talk to Millie about it. So even what we watch, especially. So we took Andrew to the Amen Clinic. I don't know if you guys have heard of Dr. Amen.
Yeah.
He's, yeah, one of the top brain specialists. So we took him there and he did the SPECT scans. And so last week we met with the psychiatrist and it was like, I don't know, 2 hour visit and where we looked at his brain scans. And after all that he told us, one of the things he said to do to change the brain was gratitude. Write 5 things down that you're grateful for every single morning. And I'm like, "Oh, we've been telling you that since you were 6 years old." I didn't say that, but it blew me away. It's like, and all through scripture talks about capturing our thoughts and being grateful. So gratitude is a grounding tool that can actually change our pathways. So if we're having this new beginning, we're looking at the new year, we also have to put in gratitude in there. So let's talk about that a minute. What's something, Alicia or Kathy, that you are grateful for that you can point out about last year? So many things
Ooh, about the
probably,
whole
but
year.
yeah, so many things. But
Yeah. We got 2 new grandchildren this past year.
ooh, new grandchildren.
Yep. We've got
Cute.
another one almost here coming in a couple weeks.
Jeez. Wow.
So definitely grateful about that.
Very sweet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am gaining a son-in-law. My daughter, youngest, got engaged, so that was exciting this year. Working hard on my health this year, that feels good, and I'm grateful. I'm just grateful for health.
Mhm.
Just we have so many friends right now
Uh-huh.
battling cancer, and it's just devastating to watch. So I'm just grateful that Jeff and I have our health and our kids do. Grateful we have a home. I mean, it's a year of basics, the basic
Yeah.
things,
I
love,
know. I know.
family, health.
Yes.
The older you get, you realize
Yeah.
it doesn't take a lot for you to be grateful. It's really the
Mhm.
small things that matter so much.
That's so true. And I feel like, even talking about intention and resolution and gratitude, like as we get older, that shifts and that
Mhm.
changes. Like maybe when we're younger, I'm going to do all the things, I'm going to work out through, wait, that's our mentality. But as we get older, we're like, you know what? I don't have to do that anymore. Not to do that anymore. And being grateful for, like you said, the small things has been really interesting to step into that as I get older. Right. Our priorities change and our perception of life and what is important changes as we get older. I know for me, we got a new grandbaby last year. And one of the interesting things was when I had surgery on my foot, I was down for 8 weeks and just realizing how much I'm quick to get up or quick to do things, where during that time when friends would come over and just sit with me, I couldn't get up, I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't do anything. They just sat as long as they could and wanted to, and it was fine. But not so old self would be quick to, "All right, I gotta get up, I gotta do something." So I'm thankful for that space. I'm really grateful for that time, even as hard as it was. I couldn't work out, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't walk, couldn't cook, couldn't, but was really grateful for that time to learn a lot about myself and who I was. So that was something that happened last year. So also along those same lines is something called the butterfly theory, the yellow butterfly theory. Kathy, can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, I discovered that just one day. I was on Instagram. Jim Curtis is someone that I follow, and he was just talking about, this idea of having an expectant heart, basically, and that if you would start saying to yourself, like for several days in a row, you would say, "Gosh, yellow butterflies are absolutely my favorite." And then maybe before you went to bed, you would say, "I love yellow butterflies." And then the next day, say, "I just can't wait to see the yellow butterflies." And you would carry that on for a few days. And then when you start looking, the yellow butterflies are everywhere. I was laughing because I was telling you ladies this story while you were here at the lake last year. That particular day, what happened?
Yeah, we
Yellow
saw
butterflies.
yellow
Yellow
butterflies. Yes.
butterflies everywhere. And
Yeah.
the message is that basically what you look for, you will find. And energetically, what you put out there, you will receive back. And I thought that was lovely because sometimes I get guilty of being negative about a situation instead of positive, and my heart isn't expectant. It might be expectant of it going the other direction. But to have that anticipation of this is going to be great. I see this. I
Good.
love this. I can't wait for this. And then not being surprised when it happens. So
For
that's basically it.
sure. Yes, that goes along with the
Mhm.
Amen Clinic psychiatrist. It's training our brain to look for whatever we're telling it to look for, the positive
Yes.
or the negative. If it's negative, you'll find it. You
You'll
will
find it.
absolutely
Yes.
find it. But to tell it to find the positive, it will go, okay, we're going to start seeing the yellow butterflies. I know Mel Robbins does something similar with hearts. She says, look for hearts. So I started doing that was like 2 years ago. Would see a heart shape in the street or a heart shape leaf or something. It's fascinating
It is
how the
fascinating.
connection between our words, our thoughts to our actual physical brains, and then changes the chemical makeup of our body.
There's
We
so
have
many
such
studies on that, so many great books on that. I
that
think
is
it
a great
is
idea.
fascinating, the
Yeah.
connection between our thoughts and our reality.
So
Well, it's
how
almost
can we
kind of
bring
like
that?
that.
Go ahead.
I'll say it's kind of like that old saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
You're right.
Correct.
Right.
That's exactly it.
You're right. Yeah, I'm just trying to think about, maybe a situation where it was, I don't know if you guys have anything in mind of going, I want this to happen, and it did. Well, I mean, you're talking about the yellow butterflies, but how in real, like a real situation where, I don't know, negative or positive. So if something comes to mind, feel free to jump in and just go, hey, here's what happened.
Well, I definitely have had over the years, so bizarre, but it's usually a time where I'm wiped out and I'm exhausted and I have so many plans and I'll be just like, gosh, I don't feel like going to this. I just really wish it would get canceled. Like that would be if this person would call and say they couldn't come over anymore. And sure enough, an hour later, the person's like calling, going, "Hey, I'm so sorry, but I'm sick." And I'm like,
Yes.
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 Just I definitely have had
Not the
that
person, but
many, many, many.
yeah.
No, but there are times where I've overbooked myself, which is typically what I do. And so It has happened multiple times in my life, and I think, "Huh, is that because I put
Yeah.
that out there to the universe?"
So how can we bring this idea into this space, this mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship, in-laws? How can we bring that into this space? Like this new year, holidays are over, whatever happened, happened. Because there's plenty of, like we said, negative stuff on the internet, but where does that tell our brain, right? Like he does this and she doesn't do that. And can you believe, like, where does that leave us in December? Like from January to, and we're doing that all year long. So how can we bring this positivity and gratitude intentional mindset into this space of, you know what? And I know everybody's situation is different. I want to be more intentional with my daughter-in-law. I've been controlling in the past. I've guilted her in the past. I want to work on that this year. Like that can absolutely be an intention.
And I think you can set, mantras or gratitude sayings like the psychiatrist is saying. You could write 5 things about your daughter-in-law down that are positive. You
Mm,
know,
Or
she
your
is
mother-in-law.
so, or your mother-in-law that is positive. 5 things about her, right? Well, just what, she takes great care of the grandkids. She'll make a meal or, daughter-in-law, love the way she's so kind to my son. Whatever it is, come up with 5 things. And then what's wrong with saying those 5 things out loud over and over and over? Because your brain hears that. And then, shockingly, that might be the thing that actually happens.
yeah, yeah. Can you imagine in
Or
December going, "Oh yeah, look, she's doing that now. I didn't think she would, and I said she was going to, and
yeah.
now she's doing it." Yeah.
Or even something like my mother-in-law is kind to me. My mother-in-law loves me. My
Mm,
mother-in-law,
sees
whatever,
me.
right?
Yeah.
Sees me. Even
Knows
if it
me.
doesn't feel true at the time, I think we can still say that and opportunities will show up
Yes,
to see
That
it.
would
that's a
be the hope for sure.
powerful. Yeah, and it, we can't control other people, but maybe we kind of can. You know. By saying those things like, "She is kind. She will find a life of her own this year. She will get community so that she stays out of my business," or yeah, I like that. You say something?
No, I mean, I agree with
Okay.
all that.
Yeah, so in this space, like, people that are listening, like, where are you at? Check a minute, like, where are you at with this, and what are your thoughts? Are they already like, especially if Christmas was rough and the holidays were rough, I get it. We're kind of all reeling and coming down from that if it was hard, and this feels impossible to be like, "Ugh, skip that, I'm not even going this Christmas. I'm not even gonna see her. I'm not doing that again." How does that feel to you? That doesn't feel good. So let's try it. Just try writing down 5 things of things or even thinking about it right now. Do 1 if that's all you can do right now.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna
Just
Yeah.
say
do 1.
3. Like
If you
I
get
feel
3,
like
that's
anybody can do
fabulous.
3. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
It might be you like the way she does her hair. I mean, really, it might have to get real basic and real, but you could
Right?
find 3 positive things about
She
most
doesn't have bad
everyone.
breath.
Ooh,
Right.
that would be a
Yeah.
good one.
That'd be a good one if it's
Be a
true.
good one. Yeah. But there
Yeah.
are you're right, there are and also when you set that up, that positive mindset, it does multiply. When you just start and do it with other things. Do it with yourself too. Say positive things about yourself.
Mm.
I am
Mhm.
kind.
Start there.
I
Mhm.
am confident. And it just multiplies. So when you just set your mind into that attitude of gratitude, being cheesy, but it really does continue. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. On the opposite, if you do the same being negative
Mhm.
with yourself or with other people, it's also like a snowball. So we really do set the stage. We set the tone with our mind first before our actions, for sure.
For sure, and that's why I was so blown away at the simplicity of, here's this top end psychiatrist talking about what we can do to help the brain, a trauma brain, a brain that's not working correctly right now, is gratitude. It's like, whoa, that's so powerful. It is so
Yes.
powerful. So let's talk to the mother-in-laws a minute about this space. Why is it important? It's important for all of us, but why is it really important for us in this midlife stage of figuring out what do I do now and who am I if I'm not a mom? Why do we need to? Why is it really important for us to have a more of a positive mindset? Because so I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that. I know for me, it's what's the next whatever 30, 40 years going to look like? It's not over just because my kids are out of the house and getting married. My life isn't over. What am I thankful for now? What can I be looking forward to now? What intentions can I set now for the next 30, 40? What's that going to look like? Because it can be a little scary.
I just finished listening to a book called Brooke Shields is Not Allowed to Get Old. It was a really good book. It was. It was so good because
I love
you
that
think about
title.
it. Here's someone who has been judged on her beauty her entire life, and she makes the comment of here she is now pushing 60, and she's out on the town, and everyone's looking at her daughters and not her. And she's like,
Mm.
but yet she doesn't feel washed up and done. But she's like, well, what do I do with myself? And so, you know what she did? She decided to start a company. She's like, I don't know anything about a company, but I'm going to do something. I want to do something to make a difference. And so she, got people to help her. And now she might have money more than some, but
Mhm.
she still didn't have enough. She had to raise money and learn things. But she said it's given her life. It's given her new life to find something new to do, something she had never thought of in her 20s, 30s, 40s. But now at 60, she's like, I still have things to do. And I think that's the lesson for most of us. We can either choose to sit on the sofa and pout that our children and grandchildren aren't coming around, or we can say, what am I going to do with the time I have left? What am I going to do to make a difference? And all three of us are like that. We all three, none of us are sitting around crocheting. We are all three making things happen to make a difference in the time that we have left. So I think that's one big thing you can do to have a good attitude is to find something to do for yourself or to find something to do to give back. And that could make all the difference in your attitude.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you are sitting on the couch pouting, what are you telling yourself about who you are? Like, "Oh, I no longer have value." Well, switch that. I have value, and it's more than just being a mom to my kids and a grandma. I can bring value to the world. I have gifts, I have talents, I have skills and dreams. What can I do now with that? Rather than sitting in
Yeah.
the, "I'm not worth it
And
anymore. I don't have
the
value."
the truth is that as long as we're on this side of the dirt, we have an assignment that's not finished yet. So
Mhm.
go figure out what that is.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was interesting. Over Christmas, I had posted a video of the boxes, that we talk about that our family does. And I remember one person commented and she was like, well, I used to do these things for my kids, but my kids don't want to come see me anymore because we live too far away and they have their own lives. And it definitely was sad and a woe is me. And
Mm.
someone commented back to her, and I love that it was just another person. It wasn't me. And they said, how about you find a family who's longing for a grandmother? Because there are
Mhm.
Mm.
plenty of people who don't have family nearby who would love it. So
Yeah.
maybe you could find a family to
Yeah.
pour into. And I loved that. I thought,
Mhm.
we
That's
all get to
sweet.
choose. Like we can choose
Yes.
to sit in the yuck or we can choose to get out and do something about it. And I think that really is the point of this is the new year is here. Why don't we all
Mhm.
agree, let's make this year the year that we have a good attitude and do something about it. Find a passion if you don't have one. Go back and think to yourself, when you were a child, what brought you joy? What were your
Mm.
dreams? What were your hopes? What made you smile or want to dance? And then go chase that. 50, 60,
Mhm.
70 isn't too old to do it.
Oh.
I
Mhm.
mean, goodness, you should see my to-do list. I've got like 5 books in the works that I want to write in the next 10 years, and things to do. We're not washed up. And just because our kids are gone doesn't mean we have nothing to do. But
Right. Nothing
it
to
does start
offer.
with our mind. Back to that.
I know one question I like to ask people as I'm starting to get to know them or even my daughters-in-law, if time and money were not an issue,
Mhm.
you have unlimited time, unlimited money, what would you do? What would you do? You have
Yeah.
unlimited resources of time and money.
Yeah.
Like the sky's the limit. A
Tells a
lot of
lot
times
about a
that's a good
person.
insight. Yeah, it's a good insight into what those passions are, what you enjoy doing, what you enjoy about other people. Maybe you don't enjoy other people. Maybe you, you know,
You would buy an
Right,
island.
be on
actually,
top of a
yeah.
mountain, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I got this big old family.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't wanna I'd rather be somewhere else. That's not me, but
But that can, yeah,
yeah.
that can often spark ideas, kind of get
Mhm.
that brain
I
thinking
like that.
out of our box of,
Mhm.
Yes.
well, I do this, but I don't have the money, or I do that, or I don't have enough time, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just dream
So
on
asking
that for a
ourselves
little
that
bit.
first, like writing it
Yes.
down. That could be a
Yeah.
writing assignment for your new year is
Yep.
writing it down. Like,
Journal
what
that.
would I do? And then you kind of pay attention to your nervous system and how you feel when you think about that. Like, does it make you come alive? Like, that's so fascinating. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about moving forward in this new year with intention. And so there's three categories. One would be for ourselves, living with intention for ourselves. Self-care that isn't performing like for other people. Saying no without guilt. We don't have to explain. You don't have to explain to people. If they ask you, tell them. If they don't ask, you don't have to explain yourself. You just saying no for whatever reason. And it's fine. I'm learning this more now. I was also the yes person and the fixer, over functioner for sure, right here. And learning to not carry other people's problems and emotions is too much. But I wanted to fix it, and I'm a fixer. Come on, what can we do about it? Well, if they don't want to get fixed themselves, there's nothing I can do. So I'm learning to recognize that and to back away and back off when it's not my job to carry emotions. So that's something for ourselves that we can pay attention to, saying no. Deciding what matters. We already talked about this, like deciding what matters for this year. What are your intentions? What are your priorities before other people decide it for us, because they will. Go ahead.
And I think a good way to get a good grasp on that for me, that's worked for me in the past, is I do a little audit of the previous year, right? And if you look at your checkbook and your calendar, it will tell you what you value or what you did value for that year. And so I like to do just like a little audit of what did that look like and what areas were maybe I was saying yes to things that were because I was, wanted people to like me, or I just felt like I wanted to help and I wanted to do all these, I always want to help. But that can kind of give you a little bit of a guidance of like, okay, that's what last year was. Now, do you want that again, or do you want to shift and kind of steer that intention a different direction?
Yeah, which goes right into my next point of the importance of pausing. So, right, it takes a pause to think about that and to look at that, go, okay, where did we spend our money? How did I spend my time? Was that what I wanted? And to pause, but we're just booming, going from one thing to the next, that we just don't take time to do that. So this year with intention, part of our intention for ourselves is to take a minute, pause, look back on last year. I love that idea.
Yeah. If you were super frantic last year, maybe look at how you can build more margin into your week, month, day.
Because we can.
I'm the queen of no margin. I'm like, nope, I'm going to do this right up until here as my lovely friends know. I'm like, I'm going to get this one last thing in, right? But then I have this frantic pace that I don't really enjoy, and it's stressful. It gives me anxiety. So kind of preaching to myself here, but.
Yeah. Well, you know yourself. You're recognizing what some issues are and you want to do better. And that's part of intention.
Back to what Kathy said, though. The steps to fix it, right? To the action items, the hard part.
Well, it's interesting because you know that I've been on this trying to figure out some heart stuff this recently. And so I've been doing a lot of research on the heart and what we can do holistically to help the heart. And do you know one of the best things we can do holistically to help the heart and the health of the heart? Breathe. Meditate, yoga.
Yeah.
Top 3 things: breathing, meditation, yoga, which all include breathing. So, yeah, it is just in that being still and being quiet and the calm, and it just the nervous system really, and we've talked about that before, but the nervous system really does hijack our bodies, and stress hijacks our nervous system, and, anxiety and being frantic hijacks our stress. So it all does impact.
Yeah.
And so you're right, it's the steps we have to take care of ourselves. And they do often look like being still, which is the hardest thing for me.
It's crazy. There's a free, breathing is free.
For me too.
Yeah. One of the other tools that they told us about at Amen Clinic was, it's called HeartMath. And let's put this in the show notes. HeartMath, it's a device. There's an app on your phone and you clip it to your earlobe and it measures your heart rate. And it measures your heart rate variability, which we can talk about that later. But it's
so does an Oura ring.
It's connecting the brain and the heart and their coherence. So it shows you your coherence right in the real time. He's like, this will change the brain long term more than anything. It's breathing, deep breathing. So I put it on Andrew, and I was watching it, and I said, hey, think of a negative thought. Think of something negative, and watch those numbers go down. Boom, there it goes. He was just thinking of something negative, and his heart rate and the coherence between the brain and the heart changed that quick. So you think about if we're sitting in the background, bringing it home to where we're at in this space, I hate my mother-in-law. She's such a man. She does this wrong. What is that doing to our nervous system? She can't even hear you. She's not even there. We are only hurting ourselves when we have those negative thoughts.
Mm.
So scripture talks about all the time. Capture those thoughts, breathing deep, thinking of something positive, gratitude, all of that. So we did for ourselves. This is for ourselves, for our relationships. If they're a strained relationship, yes, in this space there always is. Is there something you can do to repair that this year? Is there steps you can take? Apologize for something you said over the holidays. Whether she deserved it or not, it doesn't matter. It's our own nervous system that we're trying to calm here and being out of fight or flight. Creating new traditions without fear. Don't worry about it. If this year you're like, you know what, we're not going to do that again, it's okay. It is okay, regardless of how they're going to respond. Choosing peace over approval. That's a tough one.
Mm.
Choosing peace over approval. Now, we've talked about this over and over across the podcasts about when it's appropriate to cut off, when it's not, when, peace is not possible. That's okay. But as far as our intention for the year, maybe you could even say, I'm going to have peace in this relationship. I'm going to have peace. As far as it is up to you and up to us, there's going to be peace in this relationship, whatever that looks like. Speak into that so that you can calm your own nervous system. It's about you and your intentions for the year. It's about us. So for our purpose, the next one is it was for ourselves, for our relationships, and for our purpose. Like you were just talking, exactly what Kathy, you were saying. Try something new in 2026. Try something new. Let ourselves be a beginner. I know for me, I'm like, if I try something new, like I want to be a little bit good at it. I want to kind of know a little bit before I step into that vulnerable space, but definitely learning that it's okay to be a beginner on something. Try something new.
Gosh, I think of that with social media, how we've learned social media. I mean, I didn't even know how to make a reel a year and a half ago, telling on myself. I mean, not, I don't really know much more now.
I
But
didn't even know what a reel was a
no,
year and a
you
half ago.
didn't. But I mean, that sounds silly, but still at the same time, we did it. I mean, we did it and we kind of have fun with it. And it is okay to be a beginner and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody commented on one of my reels, like, you put the words right in front of the picture. And I'm like, it's because I can't afford a social media manager and I'm old and don't know what I'm doing. I
Right.
try to
It's
just
not
make
that you
light
like
of it,
it
you
there.
know? Right. I didn't know what else to do. I thought it was cute, So
Yep.
it is okay to be a beginner, but like you, I like to crush it. I want to play pickleball,
Yeah.
but I'm
And
afraid I
it's
won't be able to
risky.
crush it
It
with
is
my knee.
risky putting on social media. It is risky for us to do this podcast. Look at
It
here we
is.
are. Do you remember the first time we did it in Alicia's kitchen? It was hilarious. And here, no, anybody can. So if there's something you're like, I would kind of like to try a podcast, I would like, do it.
Yeah.
People need to hear your voice.
Yeah.
If you're an artist, people need to see your work. And even if you
Yes,
don't
for
put it out
sure.
there, it's for you. We are created to create
Yes.
something somewhere. So let yourself be a beginner. It's okay. It's all right. Started not cross stitching, embroidering. Now I'm all obsessed about it. I see all these, I want to make that. I want to make that. I want to make that. It's so fun. But in the beginning, it's awful. It's terrible. It looks really bad. So going back to the yellow butterflies, like try that. Let's try that. Even if it's not a butterfly, pick something else that you want to look for this year and start saying it out loud. I see yellow butterflies. I'm going to see a yellow butterfly.
I
So
love
listen.
yellow butterflies. I mean, just all the positives.
Mm,
I love them. Their yellow
mm,
butterflies are beautiful. And then I love my
see what
daughter-in-law.
happens.
I want to see my daughter-in-law.
Yeah, don't see my
My
grandbaby.
daughter-in-law is so kind.
All right. So another one is, let's see, tools for you guys that are listening. We've already kind of given you some tools, right? We've already given you some, what do we call them?
Show notes.
No, what's the thing we say at the end of the
No.
podcast?
Small deposits.
Small
Small
deposits.
deposits. Yeah.
Small
What are you proud
deposits.
of? What are we proud of last year? What's something that you are proud of? What did you survive? Man, what did you survive? That's something to be proud of, whatever it is.
You're still standing.
Yeah. Yep. You're still standing.
Even if your legs are shaking a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah. I think about just coming out of raising kids and having stepkids and like, I'm still alive. And I have a smile on my face sometimes. Yeah, I'm freaking proud of that because there was many times where I could chose a different direction and made different choices and wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm sure we all have something to be proud of ourselves.
For sure.
What are you, and the last one is, what are you ready to welcome in this year?
Mm.
What are you ready to welcome in?
And Carrie, if I can just add a little bonus nugget onto that, write that down And when you get those things or even thing that you want to welcome in, look at what you're doing with your time. And are the things that you're putting in your eyes, your ears, your mind, are they aligning with the things that you want to have in your life this year?
Yeah, I'm
Because I
gonna
think a
think
lot of
about that.
times we're like, yeah, I wanna have this come in. I want to enter into this, and all part of back to that intention, right? And then what are we watching? What are we hearing? What are we thinking? Um, all of that, like a computer, right? The whole, what do they call it? GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. That's like an 80s term for old computers that when you had to type stuff in to get it to do something. And they would say, well, if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. And I feel like our senses are the same way. If we put garbage into what we watch, what we listen to, what we read, think, all of those things, we're going to get garbage. We can't. It's not. You shouldn't expect to get anything different out.
Mhm. Right. Right, and then we get frustrated, and then we
I
get
don't really say that well, but
anxious,
yeah,
and then we get depressed, and then we just wanna binge,
yeah,
and then it's just this cycle, and then we don't work out, and then we don't eat right. It's just a cycle. So
yeah.
this new season of new beginnings, we are speaking life into it. Have expectations and intentions of peace, and we want to bring you guys along with us. So thank you for being here. And I think we did give kind of a handful of small deposits already. And to wrap it up, my recommendation would be to write them down, put them up somewhere. I'm going to do this, put them up to as a reminder because we all will get tired, right? And those negative thoughts come in. Let's capture them and let them go and be on the right track and intention. So thank you for being here, you guys. Next week, we have a treat. We are bringing on some of our own daughter-in-laws, and it is so good to see them and hear from them. So join us next week as we hear their truth
That's
about who
right.
we really
Y'all can
are
get all the
behind the
dirt that they have
scenes.
on us.
Right. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
look forward to seeing you guys. Follow us on Instagram. And hey, if you have or see yellow butterflies, or if there's something in here that you have seen or done, please let us know. Go to grayrootspodcast@gmail.com or go ahead and comment on Instagram. And we would love to hear from you. So thanks for being here, you guys. And we'll see you next week. Bye, girls.
Bye. Bye.